YouTube people. Just thought I'd make a video, perhaps short, I don't know, regarding the whole coronavirus pandemic, epidemic, crisis, whatever you want to call it. But also other issues that I think are far greater. And are being washed out of the attention. Particularly regarding the climate change, I guess. But I guess this corona thing was sort of downplayed for a while, and you had Trump saying it's all under control, it's all fine, even saying it's a hoax at one point by the Democrats. And then all of a sudden, national emergency, lockdown, we're shutting off travel from Europe, we're closed for business. And now you have the DOJ talking about the suspension of constitutional rights. And of course you have all the rabid political lapdogs of Trump parroting all his words as the gospel truth, following along like sheeple. I hate to use that word, but it's calling it China virus, even though I mean, this whole economy is dependent on China. We had this whole moving of the manufacturing to China to benefit U.S. corporations, to benefit the big profit makers, to increase their capital, to increase the amount, to get cheaper labor to sell over here, to pack all our retail stores with cheap commodities, with plastic, with all this. It's a whole big system. It's not just China. And I think it's just this sort of riling up of the American people to always find some to portray China as this in the most cartoonish, propagandist sort of way, you know. It takes the attention off the failures and ineptitudes of our own government, our own healthcare system, our own homelessness crisis, our own bankrupted companies, and which are never addressed much in our media. Of course, what is being done for the record greenhouse gas emissions? Let's see, the carbon has reached 415 parts per million, I believe. Perhaps 500 if you add in equivalents like methane and even stronger greenhouse gas. The Arctic is melting at an accelerated record level. In terms of thickness in Arctic sea ice and extent, it is very low. I think it's only a matter of years before there is an Arctic, an ice-free summer Arctic or blue ocean event, which will increase global heating as the albedo effect is lost. That is, the sunlight shines on the white surface of the ice, is a reflective mechanism, and then but without that ice, the dark water there is exposed to all that warming. Yeah, I just don't see any way that we're gonna meet these 1.5 degree Celsius targets. I think quite possibly we're already at 1.5 C, but because of aerosols in the atmosphere, we're not experiencing the full effect. And media that assumes that we'll basically have to assume that all of humanity, all of these nations, these hostile nations, many reliant on oil, petroleum, the US, Saudi Arabia, Russia, are all going to come together for this gargantuan effort. They're going to stop the war, stop funding the polluting, one of the biggest polluters, the military-industrial complex. They're stuck in a building working on carbon drawdown technologies. All the scientists, or possibly solar radiation management. But then that has its negative effects. We're dealing with sort of a double-edged sword, perhaps. And I guess it seems we're going to continue with this unsustainable population growth. And how's that going to work out? 10, 11 billion by 2050 to supply them with the energy needs, how much is left in our reserves, how much groundwater is there. It's already drying up in Africa. Lake Chad is sending migration. We're seeing tiny drops of climate refugees fleeing from sub-Saharan Africa. We're seeing the tropical forest losing their carbon sink status. The tipping points are being crossed. There's no more, there's barely any left. The Amazon is being completely bulldozed more and more and more by this Bolsonaro right-wing puppet up big agribusiness for cattle ranching, and a lot of that is being exported to China. But the natalists and the pro-lifers be like, we need more people, celebrate the pregnancies. Here's a picture of my new baby coming. Yay, we got a pandemic going on. We've got people suffering. We got ventilator shortages. But let's keep breeding. I didn't even go into the depletion of the oceans and the ocean acidification. But damn those abortion clinics we constantly hear. What a wonderful life it is. Don't you know how brilliant our children's futures are? Paradise is coming to them all. We can't live in fear. That's why we gotta keep... How dare you question... We gotta... We'll find the technology, we'll do something, pull your head out of your ass. I just don't see it happening. I don't see the political will, and the political will is everything. Let's have more children born, and cram them in the dumpy foster care system where they can probably be abused and neglected. And I saw another article recently about a bunch of deaths in the foster care system. I care about quality of life, not quantity. I'm just losing my sense of humor about this natalism and this life